Thank you all for joining us today and for our quarterly update presented by both KSTC as well as KY Innovation. Together, we support our innovation hubs and all of the entrepreneurial support organizations in each region across Kentucky. I'm Lisa Bajornis, Executive Director of the Innovation Hubs with KSTC. And since we last met, we now have started the new year for fiscal year 2024, and the Innovation Hubs will be highlighting their results for the first quarter, which covers the period July 1st to September 30th of 2023. So the last 3 months. And we appreciate the opportunity to be able to share with you the progress and the impact and the work throughout the state that they provide, along with their regional partners. And this quarterly format also allows us to give you an insight and through transparency into the state of our startup community across the Commonwealth. As you know, our innovation hubs provide startup coaching. They provide support services in the areas of access to capital, to customers, to mentors, to talent, many strategic introductions, and to many other resources, all of which help founders of our tech startups to advance and grow their businesses. And this certainly adds to a very vibrant Kentucky ecosystem. So I'd like to take just a moment to share some of the headlines of this past quarter. And first off, I'd like to welcome a number of folks. Welcome to Lunai, Being AI, and MyXR, which now call Bowling Green their home for either their national or their regional headquarters. And Stup Fiber has also selected Bowling Green to activate their 100 gig internet capability, which makes them one of the fastest internet connected facilities in the country. So congratulations and welcome to all of them. I have a lot of congratulations to share directly to some of your startup clients. 4 Northern Kentucky small businesses, 4 Mile Wine, Danielle's Bellevue Tavern, Farmer Nate's Sauce Company, and the Body Bakery and Company were awarded grants from the fairly new Northern Kentucky Entrepreneur Fund, and that's of course powered by Main Street Ventures and Blue North. Feed Coyote, which is a collaboration platform for freelancers, was selected to Techstars Atlanta Accelerator Program. Moolathon, a social fundraising platform and fitness tractor, was selected to the Techstars Washington, D.C. Accelerator Program. So congratulations to them. Care Mobile, which is a dental productivity solution for dentists, was one of 5 companies out of over 100 applicants that was selected to the CareQuest Innovation Partner and Matter's second cohort of Smile Health in Chicago. Prevent Scripts has launched their partnership with Healthier, which is another Kentucky-based digital health and wellness platform. And Prevent Scripts is a lifestyle medicine app that helps users prevent chronic disease. So through that partnership, Healthier users will be able to take their personalized Healthier test results to the Prevent Scripts platform, and they'll be able to begin implementing effective behavioral change so that they can improve their health outcomes. The Inc. 5000 list of fast growth privately held companies was recently announced. And of those 5,000, 29 were Kentucky startups. Just a few that I'll highlight toward the top of our list. Number 37 was Dano's Seasoning out of Louisville, and they had experienced an over 10,000% growth in their application period. Number 333 was Helpware out of Lexington, and number 800 CRG Automation out of Louisville. So I do want to also mention number 928 Blue Halo Boutique out of Greenup County, 635% growth experienced by them. Our friends at Good Maps, which is a wayfinding technology that helps visually impaired folks navigate businesses, buildings, venues, etc., was selected as one of 5 in the Elevate Ventures inaugural in-prize pitch competition. And that was at the Raleigh conference, and that provided Good Maps with a nice $1 million in new funding. New Frontier received the Young Entrepreneur of the Year, the Retail Business of the Year, and the Small Business of the Year at this year's Gateway and Buffalo Trace Small Business Awards. Guidebook, non-binary solutions, wicked technologies, and kindly benefits were all recently accepted into the Awesome Inc. Fellowship Program. And congratulations to the winners of the Render Capital competition. Those included in the Kentucky area, Afina, Best Eco, Feed Coyote, Kindly Benefits, Value Buddy, and Seamly. They each received $100,000 investment to advance their startups. So on the capital front, the hubs and I are constantly tracking investment activity in Kentucky of startups, which means the number of startups that receive funding and the total amount invested in them. So for this past quarter of our fiscal year, again, that's from July to September of this year, we had 44 startups that were funded with a little more than $40 million in those companies in early stage investment. So that's a big investment number and number of startups funded. We want to congratulate the 9 Kentucky-based companies that were awarded over $1 million in Kentucky SBIR and STTR state matching funds last quarter. And those funds will match almost $7.5 million in federal grants that those businesses collectively received. The largest investment deal in the last quarter was Liberate Medical. They're located in the Louisville region. They're a med device company that has developed a respiratory muscle stimulator that intends to reduce the number of days that a patient might spend on mechanical ventilation. And that company raised $6.2 million in Series B venture funding, co-led by a large strategic as well as scientific health development. They're going to use those funds to complete their trial in anticipation of FDA regulatory clearance and then a full commercial launch of their product. And then finally, just some hub news, and I promise I will not step on any toes or usurp anybody's reports today, but very exciting that Blue North has launched their Resilience Accelerator, a program that reduces or produces content to assist regional founders with aligning stress and their mental health for a healthy outcome. I won't say more, but congratulations to Grow West and Sprocket on a successful Tech Expo event. Thank you to Amplify for sponsoring and supporting Startup Week Louisville last month, as well as Network and Chill's ongoing tour, Hues of Innovation. Blue North is hosting their Corridor of Commerce panel tomorrow at Startup Cincy Week, which is happening all this week. And that'll highlight the advantages that they have to attract and retain high growth tech firms. And congratulations to SOAR for another very successful SOAR Summit, uniting their entrepreneurial region and for inspiring and engaging talks by founders, investors, and community partners. Awesome Inc.'s got their 5 Across Pitch competition coming up this evening. Last month or in August, Clean Space was the winner in that particular month. And so with that, that wraps up our state of startups for Kentucky. And normally at this point, I would turn our attention over to Monique Quarterman, who is Executive Director of KY Innovation with the Cabinet for Economic Development. And she always has some remarks as well. I will share her remarks with you, although she can't be with us today. So if we just move to the next slide, Monique has a few comments that I'll share. First of all, want everybody to know that the strategic planning in economic development is still underway with the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development, as well as KAED, Kentucky Association for Economic Development, and McKinsey Consulting Group. So please stay tuned for that report, and they're aiming for that to be available the beginning of 2024 for release. Congratulations are certainly in order to the University of Louisville for its Development Award as part of the EDA Tech Hubs program. And today is the Kentucky Association for Economic Development Economic Forum happening in Covington. So lots going on around the state. Startup Cincy is still underway, as I mentioned, and Monique will actually be judging 5 Across in Lexington this evening. Next week, not going to say too much more, but the Entrepreneurship Hall of Fame on behalf of Kentucky takes place in Lexington, and toward the middle of November, Create will host their Summit of the South event. And then a reminder quickly from the cabinet through Monique, please note that economic development operates differently at the end of the calendar year. So please consult your KY innovation team for any inquiries you have about outstanding applications and or tax credits. So do check that out. So that's a lot. There's a lot happening across Kentucky, and we appreciate all of our hubs leadership as well as their programs and efforts as we unite all of our entrepreneurs and our entrepreneurial communities. So very quickly, this is a map, as you can see, of the locations of our innovation hubs. We have 6 innovation hubs currently, and you'll note that Create, located out of Bowling Green in the southern central portion of the state, also includes satellite offices for Elizabethtown, and they also support Owensboro quickly. So that gives you an idea of where they are located. And what they're going to give updates on will include first quarter 23-24 updates from each. They'll kick it off with a nice startup win to tell you about. We'll quickly run through their first quarter results against their 12-month goals. We track 9 different metrics that you can see there. So they'll give you a quick update on each of those. And of course, as I always say, the most important is the number of startups advanced along the stages of growth. They'll give an event highlight from last quarter and then talk to you all about a strategic initiative for the coming new year. So with that, we're going to roll right on over and get started. And we do have Blue North kicking us off. And so it's my pleasure to welcome Dave Knox, Executive Director of Blue North. And Blue North represents their partners, Aviatra Accelerator, Incubator Kitchen Collaborative, and the NKU Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So Dave, welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Always a pleasure to be here. And thank you for all the kind words on Startup Cincy Week. It is a busy time up here in Northern Kentucky right now, and have seen a lot of the faces across Kentucky coming up and participating. So it's been a really, really fun event across the board. So I want to start with a success story, and we're going to take a slightly different approach this time because we actually brought one of our entrepreneurs along with us to talk about that success. So our success story this month or this quarter is Niche Fire, which was founded by Michael Howard. They are an amazing company that is doing some really interesting work when it comes to consumer and market insight. We featured them at our most recent Brand Fusion event that took place in September that I'll talk a little bit about later. But we want to highlight them because they are just in the middle of closing a financing round, and they've done some really interesting things as part of that will continue to support future generations of entrepreneurs. So I want to bring Michael on for 1-2 minutes here, just talk about the support that he's received as being part of a hub here in Northern Kentucky. So with that, Michael, I'll let you chat a little bit.
Thanks, Dave. And I mean, it's been a wonderful opportunity working here in the Covington, Kentucky. Just a quick background of what we do. So I mean, we are a predictive cultural intelligence platform. So we help companies identify and predict consumer, political, economic, societal trends, how it impacts their brands, how it impacts their consumers. So a little bit on us, but we first moved into the Northern Kentucky region, or moved our business into the Northern Kentucky region in earlier this year, actually. And that's when I got introduced to Dave through some of the work that he's doing at Blue North. And It was I was just thoroughly impressed with the amount of resources that not only the Blue North offers, but too also the state of Kentucky offers as well. It's just been a really wonderful launch pad for especially for us with the amount of resources. So especially even the shout out to the city of Covington. I mean, they've been able to help provide some subsidies so that way we can make sure that we can run and operate our business there really effectively. But Blue North and Dave's team has been pivotal in helping us pick up on new opportunities with prospective customers. So, like for instance, the Brand Fusion event that Dave and his team at Blue North hosted. I mean, that gave us 11 meetings, not just leads, but meetings with major clients, especially those that are in Kentucky, like Brown Foreman and whatnot. But on top of that, too, I mean, Dave has been incredibly resourceful for us. Especially when it comes to thinking strategically about the future of our business. As you mentioned, we have a fundraising round that we are in the process of closing at the moment, and he's been able to get us introduced to a number of different investors, including that from like Key Horse Ventures, Render Capital, Awesome Inc., and among others too that he's made fantastic introductions to for those kinds of resources. So, yeah, I mean, Blue North and the state of Kentucky has been really, really a wonderful experience for us as a startup, and we're starting to grow. Starting to bring in some more revenue, starting to bring in some pretty big customers as well too. Walmart's probably one of our largest customer success stories that we can talk about. Some others, we have some major Fortune 500 food and beverage brands as well too, working with us too, that we're excited to do good work for.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael. That was amazing. And I think one of the really exciting things to mention, and thank you for Michael in particular. So I'll be joining as the independent board member for Nichefire through my role. And with that, we are taking an equity donation that Michael and Nichefire are making to the Northern Kentucky Entrepreneur Fund. So hopefully with their success, it will generate financial success that will allow us to give even more grants and flywheel up here in Northern Kentucky. So love seeing an entrepreneur pay it forward for the future generation of entrepreneurs across the board. So thank you for that, Michael.
Thank you.
Awesome. So moving on to our results, this has been a busy quarter with a lot of SKU that I'll talk about in our next kind of event. But we held our Brand Fusion event, which you'll see the impact on our startups referred, served, et cetera, where we basically met our yearly goal through a single event that was a really remarkable one for that. So super excited for what that's done, particularly with connecting entrepreneurs and corporate partners together across the board. We've also had a big focus on startup advance. As Lisa mentioned, that's the most important metric. How do you drive that? How to really push that through? So we've been doing a lot of focus on that, working with entrepreneurs, seeing where they need and what's that thing they need to get unlocked to that next metric and that next milestone across the board for them. Next slide. Other one, we've been busy on the event side. I think everybody is having every event in the world taking place in the month of September these days. So we were no different. We had quite a few going on across the board with a lot of activity and a lot of involvement, but very excited for that and getting the engagement and getting more people into the flywheel that is Kentucky innovation and participating. We had some really interesting highlights. One is we had our Summer of Win celebration. That's where we highlighted the 17 companies that have been awarded the initial recipients of the Northern Kentucky Entrepreneur Fund. And then we also held our first partnership with Middletech, which is a KY innovation partner, where we had a panel of 4 venture capitalists talk about the state of the seed market and what that looks like. So exciting work across the board. Next one. So I hinted at this. So we had our event called Brand Fusion, which is an event that I've personally been running since 2012. And in the move towards Blue North and the work we're doing, we brought that under our umbrella this year, both as a way to drive our entrepreneurs forward, to get more entrepreneurs and investors involved with the community, and to see what else we might be able to from a fundraising, et cetera. So with this event, we had 35 of the world's leading brands. When I say that, I mean companies like General Mills, P&G, Kroger, Clorox, et cetera, that flew in from across the country for it. Most of them sent VP of marketing or CMO. And then we had 51 startups from across the country. Those 51 startups had combined raised about $2.2 billion. So really some top tier firms. And we coordinated and personally curated 420 individual meetings. Very excited to see where those can go and what that leads across the board. And thank you to my fellow hub directors. We had entrepreneurs from across the state, many that work with multiple hubs across the board that participate in the event. And mark your calendars, we'll be doing it next September. So if you've got great companies, send them my way. So next slide. And then the final one from a very different but new initiative that we've got coming up. Earlier this summer, I came across an initiative out of Utah that was called the Children's Entrepreneur Market. And it was inspired at the time by a struggle they were having where entrepreneurs that were under the age of 18 had been setting up at flea markets and actually getting essentially ticketed because they didn't have occupational licenses. And so a group of entrepreneurs in Utah decided that was silly and needed to be changed. So they got a change across the board from a regulation standpoint. And then they stood up the Children's Entrepreneur Market, where they started hosting these markets where the only vendors were entrepreneurs under the age of 18 that would do everything at the event. It has since that time spread to, I believe it's 11 other states. And so we reached out and talked to them about launching that here in the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. With our spark of leaning in, they were able to go secure 3 other funders that want to do it as well. So they'll be launching this in 2024 here in Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati with 50% of the market. So 5 of the 10 markets will be taking place in Northern Kentucky through the support of KY Innovation. And my personal hope is I'd love to see this expand across the state, and maybe we can make it that all of the hubs have these children's entrepreneur markets taking place as a great feeder to our programs like the Governor's School for Entrepreneurs.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dave. And thank you also, Michael. We appreciate all of your efforts in growing your business there, Nichefire, and I certainly appreciate all of the new customers, new revenue, and hopefully new jobs that are created as a result. Thank you both so much. Now we're going to turn it over to Buddy Steen, who is Program Director for the Central Kentucky region through CREATE. And of course, CREATE is also responsible for Elizabethtown as well as Owensboro. Buddy, welcome. Buddy, you'll need to unmute.
Yeah, got it.
There we go.
Here. Thanks, Lisa. I'd like to start out talking about the kind of exciting new startup that we have here in Bowling Green. The company's name is Araya Health, and they've gotten quite a lot of attention. They just a few weeks ago they won the Innovation Award from our Bowling Green Chamber of Commerce at the Targeted Business Award Banquet. And they also won one of the, a sister company of theirs won the Emerging Technology Business Award at that same event. And Raya Health is a mental health telemedicine company. And we just think it's really great that they chose to bring their headquarters to Bowling Green and hiring really smart folks and bringing people into our ecosystem. Next. Okay, metrics, been a busy quarter. We reported, we served to 238 startups. Our goal is 330. Referrals, 25. Goal is a 12-month goal is 100. Startups advanced, 7 with a goal of 12 for the 12-month. Number of new startups, we've had 2. We've actually had a few more, but they kind of fell, I think, right at the end of last year officially. So our goal is 15 in terms of startups. There's several more coming. We've had some pretty good attendees. We had 14 events and 596 attendees with a goal of 30 and 900. So well on our way there. Startups funded 8. And they're reporting that they raised $3.5 million, and our annual goal is $1 million. That one's a little bit hard to set in terms of goals. Real excited about the number of new jobs reported from our members. 34 jobs already in the first quarter with a goal of 100. Okay, couple of really cool events. We just had a civic imagination and world building conference, and this is a really beautiful thing. We have a civic imagination incubator here at the Innovation Campus, and this is a guy started with from a fella who's one of the top transmedia experts in the world. In fact, invented the term transmedia, Dr. Henry Jenkins, out of University of Southern California. When he heard about what we were doing here in Bowling Green, he wanted to put his civic imagination incubator in there. So 6 people that work in that incubator, and it is the epitome of DEIA. So I'm really happy, Lisa, because that's a hard one to drive forward. But this particular group is just fantastic, beautiful people, and we brought people in from all over the world into this event. So we're really glad to do that. Coming up, we have the Summit of the South, November 16th. That's 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. here, and this is just a collage of things. We have the Kentucky Innovation Network Services workshops. We've got a venture capital workshop. Business incentives, small business incentives workshop, I think procuring government contracts workshop, but some business plan development things going on, and marketing and branding workshops here. So you guys are all welcome to come join us. There's no cost, and it's kind of an all-day thing. So that's it. Thanks,
Great.
Lisa.
Thank you so much, Buddy. And we certainly look forward to Summit of the South, November 16th. I will certainly be there. So I look forward to having as many of you as possible join us. With that, we'll now move around to the Louisville region, led by Larry Horn, Executive Director of Amplify in Louisville there, and with their partner, the University of Louisville Research and Innovation, specifically the Entrepreneur in Residence program. Hi, Larry.
Hey, Lisa, good to see you. Thanks everyone, and love Buddy and Dave, all the things you all have going on. It's so great. So wanted to kind of start off with kind of a unique kind of success story for us here in Louisville. We've had a lot of really big fundraising rounds and things happening, but I wanted to talk a little bit about C2 Keep, which is a scaling startup here in Louisville. And as we think about the different resources that are available across our city and across the Commonwealth, one of the things that we recognize quite often is the gap within the product market fit of helping startups build their businesses. So we partnered with the University of Louisville, and we provided scholarships to 2 founders, one of them being Roland with C2 Keep, to support them in going through a 12-week program with an organization called GrowthX. And through this, you can kind of see this quote from Roland. We're checking in, trying to understand how this is helping him, what this is doing, and then to get a quote and a testimonial for him like this at the end of that, more than doubling their growth, with a lot of that being attributed to the work that he did with GrowthX. A, shows a tremendous value of that scholarship, and B, also just kind of validates the need to provide more programming and support in this area for our founders. With that, of course, through the program, we have worked with Roland since he was, I think, Vote 2 years ago, Startups to Watch earlier this year, and then supporting him with connections and meetings. As a part of that scholarship, he also was able to join our membership and get access to $1 million worth of perks and discounts, and then continue to kind of keep tabs on him and see how things are going. So we're really excited for Roland and the things he has going forward. And we were happy to contribute to some of his success through this GrowthX scholarship. So that's our success story for this previous quarter. I know a little unique, but really was excited for Roland and C2 Keep. Now, as far as metrics, of course, startups served 563 on a goal of 188. Again, this is a combination of myself, our 2 entrepreneur in residence, as well as U of L's entrepreneur in residence, which they have 4. Startups referred, again, this group 109 to a goal of 88. Startups advanced, which is validated and shared through our Abaca platform, 18 with a goal of 14. New businesses created, still a metric that is struggled to capture, though we are working with the Secretary of State to match up some of those, because I like to say a lot of founders talk about starting their business in their garage in 2014, but they actually registered with the state last year. So we're trying to capture that in a good way. Next slide, please. Hosted events. As we always talk about Louisville, we spend a majority of, not majority, we spend 20% of our state grant really supercharging other organizations, but we do host some of our own events. So we have 8 of a goal of 6, 251 participants, a goal of 125. A startup funded, 24 over a goal of 9. It was a really great quarter for several of our startups with an investment amount of $26 million and a quarterly goal of 8. Next slide, please. Event. I don't know if he's on this call, but we probably all know Zishan across the state. He's one of our friends and big advocates with Key Horse Capital. And he did 2 events for us actually over the last quarter. But again, on the funding side, how do we actually navigate some of those issues that we all know come up when dealing with VCs, and what questions are they really asking internally? And what are ways that startups can be better prepared when they're pitching to VC funds? So I really feel like, and again, he did a backup to that to dig into that a little bit more, but it was really valuable. Got some really great feedback from founders that were in the event that heard terms and things that they hadn't heard of yet. So again, more validation of the need for educating for our founders around investment. Next slide. Oh yeah, Eva. Just need to let this go. So for many of you, we've probably talked about this already. So Eva is our AI-powered chatbot that has been trained on tech communities. And then we have been working on upskilling her, if you will, on Louisville state and regional resources, really with the goal of meeting all founders at their needs when and wherever they need it. So this is an opportunity, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning or you're just a founder that can't make it to meet with one of our resources, that Eva can hopefully answer 50 to 60% of all those early stage questions and get you directed to the resources that can really provide that help. So, dramatically speeding up the time for a founder to get to the answers that they need. She is still in training. She has her training wheels on still. So please feel free to check her out. She's in the bottom right-hand corner. And we'd love for you to give us any feedback on results that you're getting. We are constantly, again, continuing to train her, but we do feel like this is going to be a great resource for Amplify to expand bandwidth, but then also to meet those founders when they don't have time to come and see us. So really excited about Eva and what she can provide for the community. Next slide, which I think is just hot.
That's it. Nope. Yeah. Thank you so much, Larry. Okay. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Lisa.
Really excited to see your results from your EcoBot, as you call her, Eva, particularly with the opportunity to reach out to those further regions and counties and areas that, as you said, maybe they can't get to all of the events and programs, and that this is something that can quickly answer the questions and get them on their way. So really looking forward to the results of that initiative. Thank you for sharing that. All right, we're going to bounce over to the western side of our Kentucky Innovation Hub region here, and we have Grow West through the work of Sprocket, and we are welcoming Hannah Ranval, who's Community Development Coordinator for Sprocket there, and with their partners, Muhlenberg Alliance for Progress, as well as the Madisonville Hopkins Economic Development Corporation. Hi, Hannah.
Can everybody hear me all right?
We can.
All right, wonderful. Well, thanks for having me on. I'm going to give Grow West's first quarter report for this year. Kind of starting out, I'm going to touch back on what Lisa had mentioned, in that 2 of our startups that came through our First to 50K program had won Render Capital's 100,000 competition. And so we're really excited to see those startups come through. Feed Coyote, as you guys might be hearing, it is a freelance kind of connection platform to manage your projects as well as to connect with other freelancers. Sue with Seamly is a digital fashion company that is working on kind creating that kind of CAD software to update patterns for clothing. They also have VR, working on creating kind of anybody can be that fashion designer with their product. One other really cool thing that Sue has done in terms of getting into accelerators is she was one of the first people to get into GitHub's first ever accelerator. And so she won $20,000 in equity-free investment through that. And we'll be getting mentorship and kind of marketing help with her company through that program. Next slide. As for our metrics, like Lisa said, we are a coalition. So that is made up of Sprocket here in Paducah, where I work. Then we've got Madisonville, Muhlenberg, and Murray State University. So we have done really well for our quarter, and we've got our annual metrics that we're working towards. So we had a lot of startups served, startups referred. We were able to get 30 and just kind of trying to cross promote between our partnership, sending a lot of our companies to Murray State's kind of office hour program with Chris Woldridge. We've also had 23 startups advanced. We've had a lot of new companies come to us that were like, you know, I'm just ready to launch. I'm ready to get going and move my business forward. With that, we had 8 new businesses that were started, so over halfway on our annual goal for that. We had 17 new jobs come out of Madisonville's Case Farm Point company. They are a mobile tractor company that just moved into Hopkins County, and we're able to hire a lot of full-time employees, so we're really excited for that one. We've also hit our annual metric on events hosted. We had 41 events hosted this past quarter with over 1,983 attendees. A lot of that was coming out of Madisonville with their, they had a back to school conference where they had 1,500 attendees come to that. We had 3 startups funded. I already touched on Feed Coyote and Sue. And then we had another one of our companies, PreventScripts, get more funding for their company as well. With that, we had invested $225,000 into those companies. So next slide. And then Sprocket held one of our first of a kind kind of showcase event for the year. This is our big annual, and we have finally gotten to a point where we have our own like kind of 12 startup companies that we get to showcase to the community. So this was a really great event to kind of promo what have our startups been doing as we've been helping them build their companies, connect them with investors, showcase to our community network what those companies do, as well as what we help them with. So going back to those 9 metrics, you know, helping them make those connections into the community, helping them get investment and get connected to experts and customers. We had 95 attendees come on that. And we also had a ton of conversations. It was really cool for me personally of last year when we had Tech Fest for our first to 50K program, I knew maybe 10 people, and this time I knew more than half of them and had a great time. Next slide. So with that, we have rebranded our first to 50K as our next to 50K program. This has been really successful in being able to recruit companies to Paducah and help them network in and build their company in our area. So this month, we're going to be launching the next to 50K. This is a 1-year program where you pitch for us, and if you win, you get $50,000 in non-diluted funding. That is what you choose to go towards. Maybe it's product building, maybe it's helping do market research or training. We can also help connect up with other resources like marketing and branding. But the deadline to apply is November 30th. You can either follow the QR code there, on the screen or go to our website at sprocketpaducah.com/next50K. And we're really looking forward to seeing how many companies want to join us here in Paducah. I will say this is more healthcare focused. We've done some strategic planning here in Sprocket and found that we have a lot of really great resources in our healthcare industry and a lot of network connections to that. But if you have an innovative idea, specifically in fintech, we will also be looking and reviewing those startups. So please apply, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys.
Great. Thank you, Hannah. And I particularly appreciate the work. And I know it's been a lot of work on your part as well as Monica's with your partners to really kind of see and plan and map out the evolution of the first 50K now into the next 50K, and with a very targeted industry sector focus. You know, one can only hope that you're going to pull some great companies from Nashville and bring them on up to Paducah to take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Awesome. We look forward to hearing those results coming up. Thank you for sharing that, Hannah. All right,
Yep.
That brings us to now the opposite side. We'll hit up our eastern region of Kentucky with the SOAR Innovation Hub, and we have Sabrina McWhorter, who's here, Director of Business and Innovation with SOAR, for your update. Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Lisa. Good morning, everybody. And hello again, friends. I just have to say it's pretty exciting to see so many of the same entrepreneurs taking advantage of each hub's offering. So I think that's just really cool and just great work to the rest of the hub directors there on making that collaboration happen. So today I'm super excited to share with you a recent story out of Rowan County, Kentucky. So the Hills Med Spa, they just recently opened their doors maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, and we couldn't be more happy for them. Their story is kind of unique. So they actually started a while back as 2 separate companies pursuing individual businesses. And at the time, our innovation team really served them both by creating those custom branding logos and one-on-one coaching. And through a lot of research and planning, they made the ultimate decision to combine forces, and together they created the Hills Med Spa. Our teams worked to merge those 2 visions into one, and it really translated beautifully. Our team was able to support them in getting their vision and their goals aligned, also having those hard conversations about, you know, when you combine 2 businesses, and then really preparing them for a loan alongside with the Kentucky Small Business Development Center. They were able to secure a loan and really put that vision into action. We also worked on building out their website that allows their customers to select their services and learn about scheduling before an appointment. And I want to give a special shout out to Kristen, our digital strategy coordinator. She worked tirelessly on this project, and she's really helped bring their vision to life. And they were so excited about it, and a fantastic turnout from the community. Next slide, please. Next up, we'll dive into our numbers. Again, these are comparing July, August, and September to our quarterly set goals. We're doing pretty well, exceeding most of our goals. We're really drilling down on making sure the quality of our touches are there instead of so much on the quantity. So startups served, we had 136, startups referred, 23. Startups advanced, and I feel like that's going to be probably a larger one next quarter, simply because we're working on making sure that we're tracking that internally, because there is a lot of movement. So 4 new businesses, we did see 2 this past quarter, and then there were 7 jobs created, which was really exciting. Next slide, please. Events hosted, we did have 6 this past quarter with 796 attendees. 1 startup was funded for $100,000, which is super exciting for that 1 startup because they are well on their ways to their doors opening here soon. So that was pretty exciting. Next slide, please. Awesome. Our team has diligently been working on this self-service page. You might have heard us talk about it before. We know one thing is for sure, that most entrepreneurs are up at night working. So those ideas are going to happen at all hours of the night. And that's why we created this 24/7 library of support. We're continuing to build this out as a resource of vetted information and material with a very heavy focus on those frequently asked questions that we receive. So far, it's been super beneficial to recap as a recap tool for when we meet with a client. We're actually able to follow up their session with a step-by-step tutorial over what we went over. And then this is also something that they can look back and reflect on once they're, in the trenches working on their things. This is really amazing. We're using it right now as an internal resource for our clients, but it is free to the public. All you have to do is reach out to us. We just have it hidden on our website right now as we're continuing to build out the library. One of the things that I want to highlight here is our recent business ideation map, and you'll see the little button there on the screen. This really works a business or just an individual to get their business or idea down on paper before ever needing a business plan. So the ideation map paired with the business outline really takes your ideas and your dreams and turns them into viable next steps before you're ready to tackle that full business plan. We were able to recently test this at our business ideation workshop, and a lot of wonderful feedback came from this, as well as some suggestions, which of course we listened to, and we made a few tweaks. And again, this is all free. It's on the self-service site, but we're really excited about it. Although we don't have an Evo Larry, which is literally the coolest. So maybe we're going to have to, maybe we'll find a Bob or a Jethro or something cool like that for Eastern Kentucky to throw him on the screen there. Next slide, please. And finally, we are so excited to welcome back the United States Patent and Trademark Office. In the spring, if you remember, we had our trademark boot camp. We had that down in London. It was the first Kentucky USPTO boot camp, and it was 4th in the country, which was super excited. They were thrilled with it. We had a great turnout. We actually had multiple counties and states represented. So we're really hopeful and know that this one will also be a pretty cool success and pretty good success. This isn't in person. It's a single day workshop for entrepreneurs, small businesses, inventors. We're going to be covering tools, techniques, resources to understand the patent application process. And this event really helps you understand patents and intellectual property rights and the importance of claims in the patent application, as well as the various patent application requirements like searching for prior art, property draft claims, understanding application forms, and then how to use the Patent Center to file electronically. So there's going to be lots of space for question and answers throughout the session, plus a discussion on all the free resources that the USPTO offers. It's pretty incredible what they have already created for everyone to use. The event, of course, is free. We do provide lunch and breakfast since it is an all-day event. We don't want anybody to be hangry and trying to figure out their patenting. But if you just head over to our website at soar-ky.org, you're able to register there, as well as check out all the other events that we have lined up, because it's going to be a pretty exciting fall and upcoming spring. So that's it from us. Thanks so much, Lisa.
Great. Thank you so much, Sabrina. And I do appreciate the fact that you are pulling together an extensive library of resources to, of course, make them available to your startup clients when and where they need them. So accessibility is the name of the game. Thank you so much, Sabrina. And then finally, as we swing to the middle of the state representing our Lexington region, we have Garrett Farbach, who's Director of Outreach and Student Engagement with Awesome Inc., and with their partners Base 110 and the University of Kentucky Innovate Office. Hi, Garrett.
Lisa, I hope you're doing excellent. I halfway expected to see that GIF I sent you of Carrie Elways from Princess Bride in that last slide. So for those of you who were on the email thread, I sent her a GIF and it was funny. And I aspire to be Wesley. So, well, for our startup win, pretty cool that Mandy has been an absolute rock star and has been very involved in every partner that Lisa just shared. So on the screen, there is a list of ways that Mandy has been involved in Lexington. I'm not going to read through all these, but the one that pertains to today, which is really exciting news, is that Non-Binary Solutions is one of the fellowship companies for the fall 2023 cohort. So in about 45 minutes, we're going to have all the startups from the fellowship this past year, and Mandy is going to be one of the new ones that we're bringing in. So we're really excited and proud of what Non-Binary has been able to accomplish. So take a look at that in the next slide. Thank you so much, Megan. So here are our, I should say year 6, that's a typo on me, apologies. But here are our Q1 metrics to date. And the ones that I'm most proud of are actually the ones I have not really had a hand in so far. But if we go from the top down, number of startups served and startups referred have been increased because a few weeks ago, back towards the end of August, we had a massive retreat and we had a ton of fun, and folks from all across the state came. The person who drove the furthest was actually from the Western Kentucky region. They drove a handful of hours in, but a lot of invites, a lot of referrals, a lot of networking calls to see how we could help startups in our state. And then what I'm probably most proud of is some of the events that we've been having and the attendees. They are just growing rapidly. So we have 2 today, as Lisa mentioned earlier, and I'll touch upon those momentarily, but also really proud of the UK team for funding 8 startups this past quarter and helping raise almost $2 million. That's pretty awesome. So really proud of them. Next slide, please. So here are a couple pictures from the retreat I was referring to. For our second year, we were in Fountain Run, Kentucky, which is right by Barron County, Glasgow area. And so here are a couple pictures. We had over 50 entrepreneurs, startup founders, investors at this campground. We had a ton of fun. The sessions were awesome. We had Steve Huey, Elizabeth Roundsavall, and Stacey Griggs all lead some wonderful mentor sessions. We had a ton of fun, campfires, songs. We also had our first retreat incident that I know of. A founder fell and dislocated and broke their shoulder, but everything's okay. So sometimes when you revert back to your 12-year-old self at camp, things happen. But it was great, and this is one of the highlights for a lot of founders who get to take off the hat of, hey, I'm always planning for my business, trying to make payroll, do all these things. They just get to be in the right environment and work with folks. And, iron sharpens iron. It's really cool to watch entrepreneurs spur on other entrepreneurs. And I know a lot of folks in this call have already said that. I'm just repeating what we've already seen work well. So we had a ton of fun this past event. The next slide, Lisa mentioned it. It is a self-promotion, and I'm really excited about this. If you have not gotten a ticket, or if you're a hub leader and you know that you can provide tickets for folks in your region to come and show out to a really fun event, we all get to dress up. Lisa and I, we're going to take a picture together and look like $1 million. We'll make it happen. We have 3 wonderful entrepreneurs: Jimmy Kirchdorfer with ISCO Industries, Tony Lamb of Kona Ice, and I'm working to see if we can get Kona Ice there. That'd be great. And then Donna Salyers of Fabulous Furs. 3 wonderful inductees that we're going to celebrate what folks from Kentucky have done. And for the first time, we have 2 folks from Northern Kentucky who'll be a part of the Hall of Fame. So we're really proud of them, what they've been able to accomplish. And then I believe the last slide is promotion. So the Startup Lex team, which is mostly driven by the UK team and some of the awesome folks, they are going to be leading a social media campaign to highlight different folks that are from underrepresented groups, mostly on LinkedIn. So I threw the LinkedIn link, say that word fast, on the slide. Please, if you haven't and you're an avid LinkedIn user, go over and give that page a follow, and that'll be one of the better ways to stay updated with some of the stories happening from Central Kentucky. And you never know, if because you did that, then you can double dip and someone from Lexington, Central Kentucky works with Western Kentucky, Louisville, you name it. So we want to make sure we're doing a great job promoting the folks from our region as best as we can. And with that, my email's on the next slide. If I can answer any questions, please send them my way and I'll be happy to help or be a resource.
Awesome. Thank you, Garrett, so much. I know you've got a very busy day today with a lot of awesome fellowship demo day, as well as 5 across this evening as well. But I will see you at the Kentucky Entrepreneur Hall of Fame on November 2nd. Here's just a quick rundown of the more immediate, larger events being held around the state. Of course, I mentioned Startup Cincy Week is happening through this week at Union Hall in Cincinnati. The KAED Economic Forum is happening today and tomorrow. Awesome Inc.'s Entrepreneur Hall of Fame, as we said, November 2nd in Lexington, and then November 16th, Create will be holding their Summit of the South conference there in Bowling Green. And just some dates for you all to remember on the next slide. Our next monthly ESO webinar, just highlighted in red there. Mark your calendars for Tuesday, November 14th. That is 1 week earlier than our normal schedule due to the Thanksgiving holiday. And we will be focusing on export resources for that one. And then, of course, this particular quarterly series will have the Next Innovation Hub quarterly update planned for Wednesday, January 4th of next year. So with that, we are just a little before time, which I love. Thank you, everyone, for attending today, and to the hubs, thank you for your quarterly updates and just documenting all of that so we can get a quick snapshot of all the work in progress that you've been making, and in particular with your startup clients and their advancement. So everyone, have a great day, and thanks for joining us.